And welcome to the October 17, 2019 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop meeting. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. and at this time I open the floor to public comments. Okay, hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 3, and I'll call on Commissioner Dupuy vote to present Stephen Bender with an award for 20 years of service to Cumberland County. Stephen and Jody, you want to come forward, please?
Good morning, everybody. We are here to celebrate Stephen Bender's 20 years of service. He was hired in September of 1999 as a security guard, promoted in April 2006 to deputy sheriff, and promoted just recently to corporal. Stephen, thank you for your 20 years of service. And would you like to say?
Thanks for keeping me around for 20 years.
Yes, I do. And I had to write my comments down, lest I go on a tangent and we would be here for the next hour, so you don't want. Just to reiterate what Commissioner Flynn stated, Corporal Bender began his career with the county in 1999 as a security officer. 2006, he was hired as a deputy sheriff and attended the 19-week basic deputy sheriff's academy in State College. When he was at the academy, not many know this, but he was at the top, graduated at the top of his class, earning the top academic award for his class. After that, he came back to our office and through his dedication, his advanced job knowledge, and his skills, along with his strong work ethic, gained a position with our warrant division in 2014, which subsequently led to a promotion to corporal in 2019 in charge of our warrant division. So the sheriff and I, what I'd really like to say is that the sheriff and I both recognize that our employees are our greatest asset in our office, and we're extremely proud to have you as a member of our team. We look forward to working many more years with you.
Not too many, but thank you.
Y'all tighten up a little? Y'all look here?
Okay, Steve. Thank you, Steve. All right.
Okay, next we'll move on to agenda items 4, contracts and grants. Agenda items 4, Roman numeral 1, A and B are existing contracts, contract extensions, or addendums with no additional cost or increase to the county. They include the following departments: Children and Youth Services and Claremont Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Commissioner, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding any of the above mentioned agreements?
No.
Hearing none, we move on to agenda item 4, Roman numeral 2, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases and increases to the county. And I'll begin by calling on Robin Weigel to discuss the agreement for assessment.
Good morning. This is our annual homestead farmstead agreement mailing. So many postcards will go out to all currently enrolled approved homestead properties, letting them know that they're still approved, and then any potential eligible property will get an invitation letter, instructions, application, and return envelope to apply during our enrollment period.
Any questions for Ron?
I probably knew this at one point, Robin, but how do you determine, when there's new properties put on the list in terms of, so that the folks that own new homes,
Right.
get, this.
When we have the cutoff, any property that's not currently enrolled and could potentially be eligible will automatically be in that group of properties that would get notification. Commercials won't get notification because it has to be owner occupied.
No, I understand, but how do we know that, that's my question, is, when do we know that there's a, new address, potential residential housing? How do we determine where to send the postcard?
Whatever we have on file,
Okay, where's it coming from? That's my question.
the sale of the property, the recorded deed comes over, we make a change.
That's current homes. What about new residential properties?
New,
Yes.
whatever we have on file, when the new property becomes, a taxable property with a home on it, the information we have on file, so that again is a recorded deed.
Okay. That's what I was curious. Okay. And you make a determination in some way, shape, or form that there's commercial properties instead of owner occupied?
They're all classified, so anything commercial starting to see, they're out. They don't even get an application.
Okay.
So it's residential's, agricultural's, mobile homes.
Okay. Well, I suppose you could have a former business that is now owner occupied, right?
It can't be a commercial,
I'm saying a former business.
if it's converted to residential,
Yeah.
it would be potentially eligible, yes.
All right. Okay, and that would be identified somehow in the deed, or how does that work?
Yeah, we would get notification of change of use.
All right. Okay, good enough. Thank you very much.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Next, we'll move on to agenda item B, and call on Jamie Reaper to discuss the six agreements for children in need. Jamie?
Morning, Commissioners. The first one is with Chester County Youth Center. This is a brand-new contract for us. We are just adding an additional option for our detention and shelter needs. Both of the rates for these programs are comparable to other places that we are in contract with. The next one is with DICON, Child, Family, and Community Services. There were no increases to any of their programs. There was actually 5 programs that decreased their rates this fiscal year. But we did also add 2 additional programs for IL services for our in-home dependent children. The next one is with Diversified Treatment Alternative Centers. There were no rate increases with this program either. However, we did add 2 additional residential program, and the option to have a psychiatric evaluation for our children in the program there. The next one is with Mid-Atlantic Youth Services. This is an increase of approximately 5% for each of the 3 programs they have. They're all still well below the state maximum allowable that we can pay. Edison Court, they did ask for a 5% increase, but this is a program that is typically funded by a child's insurance, and we actually haven't had to pay for a child being placed there since 2015, so this is just in case the insurance won't pay. And they're still within the state maximum allowable, well below that actually. And then finally, we have Adelphi Village. They did ask for increases ranging from 4 to 6, and a couple of 2%. We don't use them heavily. They have 18 different levels of care that we contract with, and over the last fiscal year, we only had about 9 children in and out of their programs. So we don't use them heavily, but they are well within their state maximum allowable rates as well.
Any questions for Jamie? Thank you, Jamie. Okay, for agenda item C, Melissa Smith was supposed to join us, BTC, but we're going to have to call her to discuss the Mental Health and Rehabilitation Center agreement. Claremont Nursing and Rehabilitation Center agreement for discussion.
Right, thank you so much for calling, sorry for the inconvenience. This agreement is a mutual aid agreement, and it's part of the Hospital and Health Systems Association of PA, or HAP. It just affords us mutual aid, regional and cross-regional agreements with all kinds of members. It will also allow us to participate in all hazards training and planning and exercises. It'll provide us staff in case of emergency should we need it. Just, there's no cost to it, and it just affords us a lot of benefits with this program, and mostly the mutual aid. If they need anything, they can count on us, and vice versa. And they have members throughout the state of Pennsylvania.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Liz?
I do. Mutual aid with whom? I still didn't hear who it is we're going to be assisting and who's going to be assisting us.
It is all the members of this Hospital and Health Association of PA, the Pennsylvania Regional Healthcare Coalition. I do not have a list of members. If you would like me to get that for you, I'd be happy to. But HAP, the Hospital and Health Systems Association of Pennsylvania, does work directly with the Department of Health.
May I perhaps add a little bit?
Sure.
In 2016, CMS ruled that there needs to be a hospital and healthcare coalition across the nation. And HAP, the Hospital Association of Pennsylvania, has been the fiduciary. And I believe the budget is roughly about $300,000, with the expectation of creating a network of supports. So for example, a few months ago, there was a fire in a nursing home in Gettysburg. And the mutual aid agreement would basically, if working collaboratively, if they needed resources from other parts of our region, there would be outreach. There's also a lot of training currently happening. And there's also software system. If there is an incident anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania, it is logged into this system, and then individuals who are using the system can access and know what's happening, as well as then if there are expectations around support being offered.
The other thing that they're offering is some mode of bringing residents down the stairs. I'm not going to remember the name of it, basically a sled to allow them to easily come down the stairs, and that they were going to provide free of cost.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we had mutual aid agreements among our first responders, okay, so I don't know, that's one of the questions I had, is this mutual aid with our first responders? Or
Yes and no. What I'll say is there's a counterterrorism task force. South Central Counterterrorism Task Force handles a lot of emergency response. This would be in association with that. The emergency responders are not going to be able to find facilities to take residents if there is an incident or perhaps a flu outbreak and they want to relocate a few patients into a certain area. First responders aren't going to handle that. The expectation is that facilities would be able to have their own all hazards planning process, and they would be able to identify resources, and that's what those mutual aid agreements are for.
I have no problem with the partnership concept. However, I would like to see the full agreement, and I'd like our solicitor to take a look at it in terms of determining what obligations we might have entering into this. So
I've looked at it, but I can't recite all the obligations.
So you want, can you repeat that one more time?
well, the only thing we have in front of us is the one sheet of paper.
I have the agreement, Jim.
Okay, all right, that'd be good.
Okay.
It said zero cost.
Yeah.
Yes, no cost. And then Sandy, if you need anything else, you'll let me know.
I will, Melissa.
And please thank whoever was helping me out there, I appreciate it.
Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Okay, next we'll move on to agenda item D, and I'll call on Eric Ramage to discuss the PCCD grant award and the PCCD grant application for the District Attorney's Office. Commissioners, please note that the grant application is an action requested item for today. Eric?
Good morning, Commissioners. Two things to hopper here this morning. The grant award for $97,563 is the second half of a grant we awarded last year. We had 70% on the tail end, so that's a no-match acceptance for latent fingerprint equipment. And then the application, the next item, the agenda item, is for the $150,000 of the Paul Coverdell grant award, or grant application for a liquid chromatography instrument. We'll try to get the laboratory for blood testing, for drugs, for use in blood testing. And I apologize for the action requested, but they're short cycling these grants. This was only out for 29 days. I couldn't make the last meeting, so the grant is due tomorrow. So I apologize for that.
Any questions for Eric?
So we need a motion on the grant application. Is there a motion? So move for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric. Next, we'll move on to agenda item E, and Jack Carroll will be discussing the agreement regarding alcohol. Jack?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a contract with Valley Forge Hospital in Morristown. We've had a contract with them for many years. We purchase hospital-based and non-hospital detox and rehab services from them. There is no increase in the rate for the hospital-based detox and hospital-based rehab. There are increases in the rate for the non-hospital services. A 6% increase in the detox rate from 310 to 330 a day, and a 4% increase in the rehab rate from 310 to 323 per day. Those rates are set through a statewide rate setting process. We don't make that many placements in a given year at Valley Forge, but it's important to have that resource when you need them, particularly for the hospital-based services. They're actually one of only 2 hospital-based treatment providers that we have.
Any questions for Jack? Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Next, we move on to agenda item F, and Holly will be discussing agreement for the human resources.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a contract with Daring Consultants to partner with our department in developing a leadership training, which was identified in our training needs assessment as a training need within the county. So we will be working with them to develop the leadership training specific to Cumberland County, deliver a pilot program to the department heads in the spring of 2020, modify based on the feedback from the department heads, and then engage in the trainer program so that we can roll that out to other leaders within the county following that on our own.
Any questions, Commissioner?
Just to work on how the intent of this is to essentially develop a program in-house, right? So that once this contract is, expired, we should be able to handle the training program.
That's correct. So the train-the-trainer piece will be allowing us to have that training within, but then we will own the content and curriculum moving forward so that we may modify and deliver forever and always.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Thank you, Holly. Next, we'll move on to agenda item G, and I would like to call Kirk Stenman, who's joining us BTC, to discuss the Comcast agreement. Kirk? Oh, that's not Kirk.
Good morning, this is Steve. Sorry to disappoint, but Kirk was not.
Hey, Steve, you look better than Kirk anyway.
I'm just wondering who this weird looking guy is on the screen looking back at me. Commissioners, what we have is an agreement between the county and Comcast for the Sample Bridge Road project. There's a utility that we need to relocate. It's currently located out of the right of way, and we need to pay for relocation of the utility line. The cost is $26,838.70.
Any questions for Steve?
So this is not subject to the state's reimbursement then?
I'm sorry?
This is not subject to reimbursement by the state, it's an out-of-pocket for us?
Yeah, I believe it's an out-of-pocket. It would be between us and Comcast.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Or do we have to pay for that?
It looks like, it's a standard agreement that typically, if you're doing a project, you pay for the relocation. I didn't know that it wasn't covered under project expense. I thought it would be.
Steve, is it possible you're just misinformed? I'm not trying to hurt it, like,
Well, Kirk left me some notes here. He said the utility line needs relocated. It's located out of the right of way now, and we need to pay for relocation. The bid will be later this year, and construction will be in 2020.
this is out of the way.
It may be.
No, you're not subject to reimbursement.
It looks as though we're going to use liquid fuels.
Yeah.
It must be because it's outside the way.
Well, it's somewhat incidental, it shouldn't hold us up on anything, but I'd like to know that, I think we'd all like to know that for sure.
So we'll check with Kurt on that, Steve.
Okay,
Okay? Thank you.
thank you guys.
Next, we'll move on to agenda item H, and Andy Spark will be discussing the agreement with NHSD Center.
Good morning, Commissioners. I think this is our last amendment for fiscal year 18-19. At any rate, this is to pay an additional $62,000 over contract from last fiscal year. And some of that was for some salary increases for staff across many programs, as well as a couple of residential improvements to properties that our providers provide services in. Windows, I think, was one property. But that's what the total amount entails. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you so much.
Next, we'll move on to agenda item I, and Claudia will be joining us VPC to discuss the EMPD grant. Claudia, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Public Safety is seeking your approval to accept the grant agreement for fiscal year 18-19 Emergency Management Performance Grant, known as EMPG. This is from PEMA, and it is in the amount up to $112,519.44. The performance period is October 1, 2018 through September 30, 2019. This funding is a grant used to offset the personnel costs for 2 of our emergency management staff. And it's a reimbursable grant with quarterly reports that were sent to PEMA throughout the fiscal year, and invoices sent as well as part of our deliverables. This is the e-grant notification that you would have received just a few weeks ago requesting your e-signature. So after Monday, when you formally approve this at the meeting, hopefully, you can go ahead and sign that electronically. It will also need to be mailed because attachment C is not electronic yet. So we'll have to do both on this one. Hopefully the next grant, but everything will be electronic.
Any questions for Claudia?
The county has to match half of this?
Yes, it's up to 50% of the salary and benefits for 2 of our staff members.
Any additional questions? No. Thank you, Claudia.
Have a good day, everyone.
You too. We'll move on to agenda item J, and Travis will be discussing an agreement with the president.
Good morning, Commissioners. The President is looking for approval on the addendum to the equipment service agreement with DSI. Through the agreement, DSI will provide tablets for the inmate population. DSI will also supply all equipment, hardware, circuit, cabling associated with the tablets at no cost. With these tablets, the inmates, if he chooses, will be able to message family members as well as have video visits. All tablets will be downloaded with the prison's inmate requests, medical sick call slips, grievances, law library, free information, commissary ordering form for free. It is estimated that through the tablets and the phone system, prison will generate approximately $120,000 in commissions annually. GTL will provide for annual maintenance and support of the health products at no cost to the prison. This agreement is for 5 years.
Any questions for Travis? Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to agenda item 5, and once again, I'll call on Holly to discuss the letter to ICMA. Commissioners, please note that this is an action requested item for today as well. Holly?
Good morning again. I hope that this is the final piece of approval for the transition from Nationwide and Valley to ICMA-RC. The reason for the action request is that we had to wait for the final market value adjustment, which ended up being a flat adjustment, so no adjustment needed in order to get this item signed. And then the transition needed to actually occur. So I did get notice yesterday that the Valley funds transferred, and we anticipate that today the Nationwide funds will transfer. So this is the final letter, and it is authorizing ICMA-RC to pay Marquette Associates on our behalf as our fiduciary partner.
Any questions?
No, so we need to take action. Is there a motion? Move for approval. Is there a second? Second. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Holly. Next, we move on to Commissioners' liaison reports, and we begin with Commissioners' report.
Okay. Start with the Western COG meeting that was held earlier this week. There was discussion about, I guess, a recent bill passed in the Senate regarding radar usage. That was a topic of discussion at the meeting. Also in discussion was the fact that North Middleton would like to join the Western COG, but they were questioning the structured rates for membership. And long story short, the board decided to change their membership fee based on just a flat fee. They used to do it based on the size of the township, but it would be a flat fee plus 4 cents per resident. And that was passed. Shippensburg Borough has reduced or condensed 3 fire companies down to 2 fire companies. They are also, regarding Mount Holly, they are looking at codification of their ordinances. Same for Southampton. Newville Borough, their Halloween parade is October 28th. Penn Township reported that there were some sinkholes in the detention pond on the Barrett Farm. However, they are being addressed and will be repaired at the expense of the developer. They too are looking at codification updates. Dickinson had a public hearing on their zoning and saldo changes. Big Spring reported that financially they're in good shape for this coming year. I believe that's it for Western COG. I want to report the Sarah Summit was also on October the 10th. I was able to attend for opening remarks and stay for one of the presentations. It was very well presented, very well organized, and today at the Hampton Township Businessman's Breakfast, we received some comments from the Hampton staff regarding the quality of that summit. And so hats off to our folks for putting a good presentation together, and also to the folks at Messiah. They pretty much really opened up the place to us. I attended a FFA event at Cumberland Valley last week. The purpose of the event was for the FFA students to show what they do. They had a number of projects and presentations. Secretary of Agriculture was there, Russell Redding, as was Representative Barbara Klein. The commissioners, all 3 of us, attended the Cumberland County Association of Township Officials. That again was well attended. Thought our board did a good job in presenting what's going on at the county. I think that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Hertzler.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. The county's Affordable Housing Trust Fund board met last Tuesday afternoon, and there was a discussion about the pending 2020 Affordable Housing Trust Fund budget. It appears that because of a reduction in title transfers and therefore reduction in fee revenue in line with what we all know is a reduction in home sales as a result of lack of inventory. projected $10,000 reduction funding for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund budget. It would go from $190,000 to $180,000 in 2020. So without impacting the key program operated by the Trust Fund Board, which is the down payment and closing cost assistance program for first-time home buyers, other budget adjustments are being contemplated to make up for the $10,000 decline in the projected revenue program. The final budget proposal is expected to come before this board in the near future. In the meantime, 21 Cumberland County families will be able to purchase their first home so far this year with the aid of the county's down payment and closing cost assistance program, bringing to 723 the number of first-time home buyers helped since the inception of the program 21 years ago. The county's Agricultural Land Preservation Board met last Wednesday morning, October 9. The board has extended offers for the preservation of 9 farms in the 2019 program year, with 6 of those farms being preserved as part of the so-called bargain sale process. Although one of the farms in Silver Spring Township is being preserved with 50% of the easement value being paid for by the county program and the other 50% being paid for by the Silver Spring Township program. As you'll recall, a total of 1,259 acres is slated to be preserved in the 2019 program as a result of the board's decision, the Agricultural Land Preservation Board's decision, to entertain, at least for the 2019 program year, a pilot initiative to preserve farmland out of ranking order, where the farm owner agrees to donate 50% of the easement time. Preservation Board also discussed the 2020 program year budget, and the county's compromised 30 by 30, 30,000 acres by 2030 budgetary policy that was later adopted that same afternoon. The board, meanwhile, created a committee to interview 2 applicants that have expressed an interest in filling a vacancy on the Farmland Preservation Board. And as she did last year, Stephanie announced that there would be another Farmland Preservation informational workshop this year. It's scheduled for November the 7th at 7 p.m. Allen Road, and is once again open to farmers who are interested in preserving their farm acreage, and also to anyone interested in the preservation of farmland with the creation of a township program and or via a nonprofit organization. I was able to attend Tuesday's Planning Department West Region Outreach meeting in beautiful Hopewell Township, and full attendance. It was a very good meeting. Extended regrets on the part of my colleagues. One of the items discussed was the Planning Department's work along with the county's redevelopment authority in moving to create a program that would help prevent, mediate, and redevelop blighted properties. The municipalities present from the western end of the county were asked, if they haven't already done so, to submit a listing of any blighted properties in their communities. As I understood from the meeting and from our director of planning, more than 100 blighted properties have been already identified throughout Cumberland County. And staff is expected to be presenting a recommendation to us hopefully before the end of the year. There was also an outreach at the meeting to our municipal partners from the western part of the county to assist in the county's participation in the renewed DEP effort to reduce nitrogen and phosphorus pollution in the Chesapeake Bay. It's estimated that the planning process for the implementation of the countywide Phase 3 watershed improvement plan will take place over the next 6 to 8 months. And one of the focus areas of the planning effort will be to ascertain and document best management practices that are already underway, but where we're not getting credit, as well as to identify new cost-effective strategies to further reduce pollutants. Also, my colleagues are aware of the fact, but Harrisburg Area Transportation Study just sent out a notice to hold the date of November 12th at 9 a.m. at the Army Heritage Education Center, and it's in connection with moving forward on I-81 improvement strategy. It's going to be attended by the 3 MPOs, 100-mile section from Berks, Lebanon County line, all the way down to the Maryland border. And that includes HATS, includes Franklin MPO, includes Lebanon MPO. It will also include PennDOT and the Federal Highway Administration. And again, as I think I reported in one of my previous liaisons, the focus of this is going to be try to identify 4 or 5 areas along the interstate where there needs to be attention in the near term. Of course, the obstacle of doing much more than band-aid work is going to be, and continues to remain, the federal government's inaction on any kind of infrastructure legislation. So, in any event, I think that we're moving forward. The need to continue to move forward with improvements on Interstate 81, which I credit this board for essentially spearheading. There's something we're going to need to continue in the future, and I'm confident that my colleagues will continue to press for action. That's all I have for the moment.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sure, just a handful of things. I was in attendance at the Planning Commission meeting this morning, just prior to this meeting, and a handful of things there. Of course, it's always a very productive meeting. I did receive the monthly dashboard update I'll be sharing that with you a little later today. Kirk reported out essentially on the hazard mitigation plan, which has been occupying some of their time lately. It's been on the forefront. He did give the Planning Commission a cursory briefing on the evolving redevelopment strategy that Commissioner Hertzler alluded to earlier. That, of course, is being formulated in partnership with Economic Development Corporation and the Redevelopment Authority. And I had a meeting with Kirk on it as well earlier in the week, and that is emerging as a very comprehensive approach toward addressing the redevelopment need in the county in a very timely manner. And I'm really impressed with the thoroughness, and I think the plan that's going to be presented to us, even though I haven't had a preliminary look, is going to be pretty impressive in its breadth and its commitment to effectiveness. So looking forward to that formal presentation. I could go on about that for a while. I guess I really don't need to. We'll see it in due course. So, but I'm pretty enthusiastic about what they're proposing, and I think it's very much focused on real-world results and attacking real problems, not perceptions of problems. So, also, we had a group. Oh, I did want to mention there was some discussion on the online plan submission process that we approved recently. There, of course, seem to be pleased that that's going to move forward, and staff is elated that that's going to be a very efficiency improvement for them, and of course bears benefits for virtually all parties involved, and it's at a very minimal cost. So that's just seems to be to use a hackneyed term, win-win all around. Also, worth noting, I think that there were a number of folks in the audience, and usually when you go to planning commission meetings, as you are aware, they tend to be mostly development proposals and people who are there in support of or opposed to a particular development proposal. There was a group of I'll characterize them as young people, but to me, almost everybody's young people now. So they had mentioned they were present at the climate forum last night at Dickinson, and they came there just to learn about what the Planning Commission does and their role. They expressed a lot of interest in the climate change issue, but in other issues as well, how land use planning interacts on environmental protection issues. And it was really insightful. Number one, I didn't get to talk to those folks afterwards because I had to come here in a pretty timely manner. But they brought an attitude of inquiry and really asking genuine questions. They were clearly very knowledgeable, but unlike so many forums we see today, they didn't come there to speak. They came there to listen and to gather information. I found them to be really impressive in the amount of knowledge they had in their demeanor. And equally, I think Kirk Stoner once again really addressed the situation in the absolute optimal manner you could ask. He was very polite, very informative to them. We carved out a small amount of time in the planning meeting, all of which I felt was worthwhile, so he could answer their questions. And he followed up with them afterwards, left his card, and expressed that he wanted to talk to them. It was really pretty impressive to see that type of interaction and to realize that there's a lot of folks out there who are taking an active interest, and they felt it was worthwhile for them to come to the county planning commission meeting to ask questions and to learn. And again, Kirk just handled that situation exceedingly well. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. MS4 was discussed briefly at that as well. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure. And in a related note, I did stop and talk to Justin right after the meeting for a moment, and he had forwarded me some materials that you'll be interested in, an update on our recycling effort. The household hazardous waste event was held, I guess, it's almost 2 weeks ago now. That was the last of the series that will be held this year. He gave me some numbers. They had 824 total customers, and they collected, now this is for the year, this is for all 3 events, 99,283 total pounds of household waste material. The amount that Justin estimated we would get was 67,857. So we anticipated 67.8, we collected 99.3 roughly. So that's pretty impressive in that there's clearly a demand out there, and that we're making good efforts in meeting that demand and taking these household hazardous materials out of the waste stream in a responsible manner. So Judd mentioned to me in his email updates that he thought that implementing the per pound fee, since this migrating more toward a fee-based system, he thought that would result in about a 30% loss of material over the average weight of the collections we've done through events in the last 5 years, where there was no such fee. But in fact, it was the exact opposite, that people are embracing this opportunity, and the fee has not acted as a measurable detriment to their participation in the event. So that's a very positive, I think, for our planning going forward, to know that a user fee approach helps us get this done at a very meaningful cost, and a large segment of the population is more than happy to embrace that model, and they will participate. So more on that, I'm sure, in the future. On the electronic side, through September, the total collected 241,111 pounds. That's just through the end of September. Most up-to-date numbers we have. We're on pace to collect around 320 for the year, nearing 9,500 total customers, and total collection since opening of 875,000 pounds of electronics materials. So I personally deem that a considerable success on the county's part. The only other item is that the authority meeting for recycling is Monday night, and we're going to be discussing the approaching deadline for submission of the periodic update of the recycling plan. And there's a potential for some nominal changes in that plan that will be discussed before it's sent up to us and for final approval, but the deadline for submission is approaching on that. And Joe's given that a lot of thought and consideration. And just wanted to give us a heads up that that may be on its way. The only other item I wanted to mention really quickly is Economic Development Corporation. We're continuing to move the visioning and board support initiative forward. Jamie Keener and I met with the facilitator for about 3 hours last week, and that was very insightful, and I think going to be extremely helpful to the process, and I'm really pleased to see that moving forward at a rapid clip, and seems to be unfolding in a very meaningful way. So good news continues on that. We'll be hearing a lot more about that. I think it's going to be a extremely valuable undertaking. Only other item is just a reminder that the Cape-sponsored healthcare workforce luncheon is today at Dickinson College, and that, of course, is one of our key areas for our workforce development initiative. And it's an impressive event because the healthcare providers are all going to be at the table, even though they're deeply in competition with each other. They are stressing the unified need they have for workforce and Cape's role in especially helping them meet that essential need that will serve our community for a very, very long time. So I'm slated to give closing remarks on that. So it will last so anybody can walk out without a question. Anybody's certainly welcome. I think all commissioners have been invited to that and make it fantastic. Katie, folks appreciate this show of support as well. So that's everything I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would like to report that an executive session was held on the following date, 2019, October 15th at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel issues. I would also like to request an executive session be held directly following this meeting, also regarding personnel issues. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board today?
Sandy, I do what I want to bring up, and the big picture, this may seem like small potatoes, but as my colleagues are aware of, a number of weeks ago now, a candidate of the Common Police Court withdrew his name from the ballot 6 weeks after the deadline, the legal deadline to withdraw. And, he may have had, undoubtedly had good reasons for his decision to withdraw, but there was a cost to the county. Now, the fact is, we're back on track. We didn't lose too much time. It's necessitated some mailing to overseas folks with replacement ballots, and those costs are relatively minor. But it was on September 24th in the Carlisle Sentinel when Mr. Sahani said there's a cost that has to be expended. I'm more than willing to pay the cost. The fact is, and I checked, our Director of Elections spent at least 14 hours going over to Commonwealth Court to participate in the other work that was in connection with that. And our solicitor, Jen Hipp, spent 13 and a half hours. So if you consider their salary and benefits for the hours that they expended, that equates to about $2,117.17. I discussed this briefly with our solicitor and was informed, we might want to consider asking Mr. Sahanish to reimburse us for our costs. So I'd like to ask my colleagues to consider sending Mr. Sahanish a letter and just saying, based on or however we want to word it, but these are the costs that that were incurred as a result of your withdrawal 6 weeks late, and we'd like to take the opportunity off for being willing to compensate the county for that. So I want to throw that out, and this area of food about it. But the problem with, regardless of the candidate or the party or whatever, is that if we don't seek reimbursement, for those costs, I can see this potentially establishing a precedent. And where you might have other parties in the future withdraw after the deadline, cause a disruption in our election process. And they're well accountable to pay for it. It's no problem. I think that it's a relatively minor cost for Mr. Savage to consider reimbursing us, and I think it's something we should ask him to consider doing.
Chief, has this ever happened before, to your knowledge, not only here, but in the other county?
I know there's been withdrawals before.
Prior to the deadline.
Prior to the deadline, and there's a couple common court cases that address those withdrawals.
How considered, ready to make a decision right now?
I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
He didn't make that offer.
Yeah, that's, I would think about it more too. I think the offer was gracious on his part because it's certainly not a requirement. And I think he was sincere. I think maybe a quiet inquiry with him to begin would be more appropriate. The only question I have is in terms of itemization of people's hours and such. Direct costs, I can see us billing. The hours, I'm not certain, because we often incur, ballot preparation is part of the obligations that we accept, or is thrust upon us by law. So, and these things do happen, but they happen with great rarity, and I don't think people are going to see this as a signal to try to exploit the county office, and I don't think we should do anything that penalizes people for trying to participate in the process either. If we're gonna be worried about setting precedents, I think the idea that now we're gonna do this kind of tracking on a regular basis in case something that rarely happens. I would just be a little concerned about that. It's a minor concern. I mean, the Commonwealth inflicts many hours of obligation on us, and yet we don't turn around and bill the Commonwealth, do we?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious if someone can say, these are legitimate costs of ballot preparation. It's the job that we have, that we're charged with, and are we being punitive, or are we adopting perhaps even who are we to say that $2,000 is easy for Mr. Sahanaj? I have no idea what his finances are.
I don't know about that either, but these are hours that were spent specifically in the matter of his withdrawal.
Right.
And they were spent, if I understand the time sequence correctly, subsequent to his statement that he's willing to reimburse the county. I mean, they're definitely, in my opinion, they're real costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's,
again, I'm not interested in taking this to court. What I'm interested in is, communicating with Mr. Sahanaj, requesting these are the costs that we incurred as a result of, late withdrawal. So I appreciate what you're saying, but I mean, the fact is that it's handling 6 weeks after the deadline of the law. And, under normal circumstances, you have that established deadline, and then if somebody withdraws, the election staff, does what it's supposed to do, that's part of the job. But this was kind of like over and above the job because it was extraordinary and that it was outside of the statutory deadline.
On surface level, I have no problem sending in that itemization and saying, you offered, here's what our calculation is, and let him decide what he wants to do. I'm a little concerned that, this is an extraordinary circumstance, and extraordinary circumstances do happen on an extraordinary basis. So, we establish a mechanism, and if we do establish a mechanism, then we should complicated, but sending him an itemization. Let's take a couple days to think about that.
I don't think it's going to set a precedent what happened, but maybe just a phone call. So here, these are our charges. Yeah, let us get back to the keys.
Well, I mean, I'll do as the board directs, of course.
Is there any other business that needs to come before the board again? Okay, hearing none.